I tried over 250 different type of whiskeys and bought over 100 bottles in 2024. And out of all of those, I'm going to show you my top 5 whiskeys of 2024. So find out right now.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Welcome to Whiskey. My name's David. And I took the 20 best whiskeys I had in 2024 and took the last 4 weeks or all of January to whittle it down from 20 to 10 to now 5. It was a grueling 4 weeks of drinking some of the best whiskeys in 2024. But before we get to the list, let's go over some of the rules to be eligible for this list. So first, I had to have a bottle over the last 4 weeks. Think about it. I took the last 4 weeks, I drank it, gave it a score, and I drank it again on a different day and gave it a score, and then averaged those scores and took the top 10 and then the top 5 in order to be on this list. So without a bottle, it's really hard to do that. Even with sample, I usually run out at the end. So I don't want to do it that way. I like to have the bottle to make sure that I can have the full experience to get you the list that I know is perfect. So second rule, it either had to be released or I had the opportunity or reasonable opportunity to be able to purchase it in 2024. And number 3 rule, no store picks. Those are very limited and it's like one of a kind, right? There's maybe 150 or 200 bottles max of those store picks. So I didn't want to include any of those. But nationally released single barrels are eligible. So for instance, Jack Daniel's Coy Hill. Those are single barrels, but as long as they were not store picks, those were eligible for this list. Now, is it on there? Again, you have to find out. Now, we got the rules out of the way. Let's get to some of the honorable mentions. Because of the rules, these two are eliminated, even though I really like this. So first, it's just all of rare character. Most of those are store picks, very limited, but they are absolutely delicious. They are just fantastic. I think if I didn't have that store pick rule, 1 or even 2 might have been on this list. So very honorable mention. If you see a lot of these, make sure you either try them or get them because they are absolutely delicious. The second one is the A. Smith Bowman Castrate. I had a sample of this. I don't know if it was batch 2 or 3. I totally forgot, but it was freaking incredible. It was one of the best whiskeys I had, but it was a sample. I don't have a bottle, nor was I able to even try to get or borrow a bottle for this 4 weeks that I had the chance to do this list. So fortunate those 2 are eliminated, but if you have a chance to get those, absolutely get it. All right, let's get on to the list. Coming at number 5 is a bourbon that was actually 2023 release, but because I got it really early in 2024, was eligible for this list. It's gonna be the Four Roses Limited Edition 135th 2023 release. Oh man, Four Roses Limited Edition, it's just out of this world. The notes I got on it, it's gonna be a lot of like stone fruits, like peaches, apricots, strawberries. And then the funny thing is, at the end or the back of the palate, you get a little bit of more of a wine fruitness. The blackberries, the thick like cherries, straw, like that type of red wine sweetness that I don't particularly like in a lot of other bourbons, but in this one, they do it right. And then it's balanced out with a little bit of spice and the caramel and the vanilla that we all love in a bourbon. So it's really balanced, it's really complex. The only reason it's at a 5 is kind of because it doesn't do one thing really, really well. It just does everything well. And so it's everything that you want, but nothing stands out. So that's why it was really great, but number 5. Coming at number 4 is a release that came out in 2024, but it was overshadowed by a lot of the previous releases. But for me, it was a fantastic pour. It's gonna be the Heaven Hill Heritage Collection 18 years old. A lot of people believe and think that the 17-year-old better. Now, I had a couple pours of the 17, it's fantastic, but for me, 18 is right up there. My notes that I got on it would be very oak. It has all the traditional oaky sweetness, spice, fruits that you want. A little bit of cherries, a little bit of vanillas. It almost felt like I was drinking an upgraded version of the Wild Turkey Master's Keep 17-year bottle in the bond. That one, I always said, it's a little too oaky, but if you warm up with an oaky drink and you take your time, You get the dark fruits, dark oak, the dark spice, and you absolutely learn to love it. And I think the Heaven Hill 18-year-old is the same thing. If you have a sample of it, I think it's something that might be a little too oaky, a little too bitter, but if you take your time to enjoy it, it's your second pour of the night, oh, you get to learn and love what it was supposed to be. Number 3 on this list, it does the exact same things the previous 2 did, but just does it in a higher level. And it adds a little bit of almond sweetness that just gives it a little bit more complexity and balance that you need. It's gonna be the George T. Stagg 2024 release. Oh, it has everything you want: the caramel, the vanilla, the cherry, and as I mentioned before, stone fruits like raspberry jam and strawberry jam, or like some type of those fruity jams that it's just wonderful. But this one has a little bit of almond creamy buttermilk that just makes it so delicious. It's like having a jam sandwich, but then you get a peanut butter and jam sandwich. Oh, just totally different level, right? And this is what it is. The other ones are great jam chocolate coffee, but this one adds that little bit of almond butter that takes it over the top. So number 3, George T. Stagg 2024. I'm gonna take a small break to ask you for one favor. Please like this video if you're enjoying this content. It makes me feel absolutely great inside. And I want to thank my Patreon YouTube members for being a part of me and supporting me in 2024, and I'll do more for you in 2025. Oh, in these bottles, what are these for? Well, starting today, I want to show my thanks to my Patreon and YouTube members. So I am doing a giveaway, or I did a giveaway, and I picked a couple of people to enjoy these fantastic bottles. And here are the winners. Congratulations, thank you so much. I want to do more in 2025, either it be exclusive content, more giveaways, more good stuff, or just being more, crazy. So anyways, thank you, congrats to the winners. Number 2 on this list is probably something that everyone thinks right now, since you haven't seen it, it's gonna be number 1, but it's actually number 2. It's gonna be the Russell's Reserve 15-year-old. Oh, one of the best whiskeys I had in the last couple of years. It was incredible. I mean, the notes I got was peaches and berry pie with the perfectly baked crust with a little bit of cinnamon and brown sugar on top. And you finish it off with the best mocha coffee in the world. The chocolate, the vanilla, the coffee bitterness, all balanced out, and you finish it, and then you take another bite of that peach berry pie with the perfectly baked savory crust, and then you have another sip of that mocha. Oh my God, that's what Russell's Reserve 15 experience is all about. But that was number 2. So number 1 on this list was, to me, an absolute surprise. So once I got to the top 10, I started doing a lot of things blind. So I gave it blind scores and non-blind scores in order to average it out to get to the top 5. And I did it again to get to this list. And this one finished with the highest score. It's gonna be the Booker's Reserve 2024. The notes I got in it was chocolate, vanilla, creamy, sweetness just all over the place. It was thick with a little bit of spice to just make it very interesting and very fun with, again, the chocolate coffee bitterness I get. Again, you're gonna get a little bit of a pattern. I really love that chocolate coffee bitterness that I get at the end in a lot of these whiskeys because it really balances out the sweet, the fruit, and the spice that I get in the palate. And I know when I did it non-blind, the scores were very close. But when I did it in a blind, this was very enjoyable. The oakiness in some of these, like the Russell's Reserve 15 or the George T. Stagg or even the Four Roses, or again, the Vanilla Tea, those were very high age. Sometimes you get slight tannins or the wood bitterness I don't absolutely love. But on this one, because it's balanced out between 8 and let's say 14-year-old bourbons, I didn't get any of that. And that just pushed it over the edge and just edged that out. And I know it's a surprise. A lot of people don't have this in their top 5 or even top 10 on their list. But to me, this was number 1. For me, 2024 was a very great year, but it was a little bit disappointing in terms of regular releases. At least in 2023, I had the Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Barrel Proof Rye in number 2. I also had the Stag in there because one of the Stags was just incredible and all those good stuff. And those are a lot easier to find, a lot cheaper than the ones I put on this list. But I'm not gonna lie to you guys, these 5 were just the best I had in 2024. I wish they weren't limited. I wish they weren't allocated. I wish I picked a bottle that was just released. But let's think about it. What regular release was that good in 2024? Not much. Either they were released in previous years and really didn't have a best number this year, or they just were mediocre. Like a lot of good releases from Bardstown were just regular releases. They were good, but they were definitely not exceptional. And so I hope in 2025 that we do get a lot more regularly released things that's more readily available, that's not that expensive, that can hopefully compete in top 5 or top 10 of any year. So let me know in the comments, what's your top 5 whiskeys? And what do you think about my top 5 list? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it horrible? Thank you so much. I'll see you guys next time.